If you're a man watching this, or you're a boy who wants to become a man, you need to understand solitude is your biggest advantage as a man, okay? There is nothing else in the world more beneficial than solitude for a man. All your problems has a solution. Everyone knows that. And the solution lies how much you think about it, how much you take advices, how many courses you do, how many time you give to those problems. But what if I tell you, if you just sit in silence for a while, just you and your thoughts, nothing else, you and your thoughts, that's it. If you sit with your silence for a while, you'll achieve solitude. If you don't know what solitude is, it is just your love for silence in your life. And if you start loving silence in your life, I swear to God, 90% of your problems will be solved like this, like this. Because you're loving your silence and you're just sitting with your thoughts and it's you and your mind. That's where it comes down to. As a man, you need to understand how fucking important solitude is. If you don't understand this, your whole life is fucked. Even if you get rich, even if you find the love of your life will be fucked. Literally fucked. And I'm not joking about this. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not overstating this. It is true. If you don't master your solitude, if you don't master the silence in your life, you will be fucked up. And I'm giving the key to you now. The weak men will mistake stimulation for meaning and activity for purpose. But if you want to become a disciplined man, and if you want to achieve all the goals that you were set to achieve this year, next year, or the next decade, if you want to achieve that in the shortest time possible, mastering solitude will help you a lot in the journey. A disciplined man will choose stillness, he will choose silence. If you are a disciplined man, you have to choose stillness. You will listen where others flee, and you will have to stay where others escape. Discipline doesn't only means that you are going to the gym regularly or you're not fapping at all. Yes, that's like the majority parts of it. But discipline also means choosing peace over stimulation. From silence comes clarity, and from clarity comes direction. If you want clarity in your life, silence is the way. Sit in a blank, dark room, just sit there for 5 minutes a day. Very soon, you'll realize how fucking important it was. And you'll feel very worse than ever if you sit in silence at the start. Let's say you're starting out and you just close this video right now and you sit in silence in a dark room. You sit in a dark room, nothing else. No screens, no books, no calls, no nothing. Not even music, not even the slightest of noise. If you think there's some construction work going on or there's a lot of noise near you, wear some earplugs or earphones and start by playing brown noise to block the noise. In YouTube, you can easily find it. You can find it in Spotify. You can find it in almost any app. So if you start sitting in silence for at least 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes a day, it's almost kind of a meditation, but it's meditation with your thoughts instead of without your thoughts. In meditation, you usually just focus on your breath in and out, you close eyes, but this is different. You don't close your eyes, you sit there, just sit there, that's it. You sit with your silence, and very soon you'll start to realize how fucking important it was. If you had childhood trauma, you'll start healing that childhood trauma. And if you had some kind of insecurity, some kind of fear, you'll start to get over it. Fear exists in the vague, not in the specific. And to boil down the fear into specific parts, why am I feeling this fear? Why am I feeling this way? Why did I thought that way? Why am I even trying to think all these thoughts? And you do this for a week straight, you'll start to feel better and better. I swear to God. And removing addictions from your life will become so much easier after you have embraced in solitude and silence. Because that's the thing, right? You couldn't feel silence. That's why you chose porn. That's why you chose binge watching Netflix. That's why you chose video games. That's why you chose talking to women, whatever it is, degenerate women, by the way, whatever it is. You couldn't fill your silence. That's why you're addicted to things that you shouldn't be addicted in the first place. So train yourself to be in silence and achieve solitude and peace. To stand with your own mind as your only companion. For the man who governs his inner world needs no validation or permission from the outer world. You really, really need to think about this. The man who cannot sit alone in silence will always be a slave to noise. Let's read a quote here. This is, I don't know who said this, but this is a beautiful quote. For he who fears stillness fears himself, and he who cannot endure his own thoughts will forever seek refuge in the voices of others. This is deep. Think about this. You feared yourself as a person. You feared of missing out. You feared of whether you'll achieve that feeling of importance by other people, that validation, that permission to live. And when people didn't give you that, you started to chase stimulation. You started to chase dopamine. You started to chase validation. You started seeking refuge in the voices of others. When others said, do this, you said, oh, they are saying this. That must be right. My parents are saying that. That must be right. Because they're my parents. You never even stopped once to think, to sit and think about it. You never laid it out in a sheet of paper. Okay, option A, if I do this, then that will happen. Option B, if I do that, that will happen. You never laid it out as a plan. And then you start condemning yourself because you couldn't achieve anything. You couldn't even sit in silence for a while. And you started going to the gym, so you started nofap, you started reading books, but you never sat in silence and thought about it. Why am I doing the things I'm doing? Why am I watching porn? Why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? Why? You never thought about it. And that's the reason you couldn't escape porn. That's the reason you couldn't stay consistent in gym. You not embracing solitude is the reason you couldn't escape porn. You couldn't escape the societal norms and think for yourself. You never for once even sat with your childhood trauma. A lot of people watching this has childhood trauma, right? We know that. And by the way, if you start embracing silence over stimulation, you will feel very worse at the start, as I said. Because in silence there is nowhere to hide from. There is like it's just you exposed as you are. And you won't be able to accept that because you're not where you want to be in life. That's the reason you are watching porn, you are trying to get to the gym, you're trying to be consistent, but you're not where you want to be in life. So it will be very hard at the start, very worse. You'll feel so bad at the start for sitting in silence. This advice will actually work against you at the start. But as soon as you start getting used to it and you get a bit consistent in your silence, there will be you accepting you just the way you are. Not the way other people want you to be, not the way others expect you to be, but just the way you are. You exist. So embrace silence and choose peace over stimulation. You'll very soon achieve solitude, and that is a really, really great feeling every man should have. Even the richest men, Elon Musk, you name it. Most successful men cannot sit in silence. They are always in survival mode. They are always in this mode of I want to achieve, I need to achieve, I need to achieve that, I need to achieve that. They can't sit in silence. So by just sitting in silence, you'll make enormous progress in life. Life is wonderful. Do not waste it in stimulation and cheap dopamine. Do not waste your life. The comments are always open for appreciation and criticism.